Picture this. It is a beautiful day in September. The weather is warm, the sun is high in the sky. A gentle breeze rustles the leaves and the birds chirp wildly. The faint hint of fall is in the air, a light, crisp note on the wind. But you know none of that because you are leaving a room with no windows after 52 hours of labor, careening towards an emergency C-section that you absolutely did not want. Everything happens so fast. Suddenly you're strapped to a table, arms spread wide, anesthetic shivers shaking your body. The nurses forget your partner until you remind them after they already have you sliced open. And then your partner is there, and then baby is out. And then baby pees on the doctors, but baby is out. Recovery is smooth. You have a terrible nurse, but that doesn't matter because this precious little potato in your arms is something you made, something you grew with your own body, and everything is perfect. You are sore, you are exhausted, you are starving, and if you don't know this, they don't let you eat when you're in labor. So you are about to eat the best turkey sandwich of your life. Everything is perfect. And then they send you home. Newborn sleep deprivation hits hard. Shifts with your partner blur into a haze of exhaustion, and you start to question yourself. Who let you go home with a child? You suddenly feel like a child yourself. Who let you go home with a baby? Can't you just send him back? And then you cry, and you don't stop crying. Every time you get near your newborn, electricity crackles under your skin, deep in your chest and through your fingers. Deep in your chest and through your fingers, the lightning bursts every time you are near him. You cannot eat. You cannot sleep. You cannot care for your baby. You do not want to care for your baby. You want nothing more than to send him back to the hospital away from you so you can have your old life back. Where did that freedom go? Surely he would be better with someone else. Why do I hate my baby? And then the guilt creeps in. How dare you? What kind of parent are you? What kind of parent can't connect to their child? What is wrong with you? Why are you such a bad mother? This was my reality as a brand new first-time mom. And what I went through has a name, and it is so much more common than we think. Postpartum depression and anxiety, also known as PPD, is a mental health disorder that primarily birthing parents get. It is an acute form of depression that, when left untreated, can cause severe physical harm to the mother or child. Now, my baseline mental health is a cocktail of ADHD, anxiety, PTSD, depression, you name it, I've got it, right? And I was a prime target for postpartum depression. Now, many of us have probably experienced the effects of depression or anxiety in our lives, but this was something I had never experienced before. I thought I had hit rock bottom before, but this was an entirely new level. It was lightning in my chest and darkness in my brain. My terror and sadness were absolute. My precious little potato had turned into my nightmare, and I tried so hard to fall in love with my baby, my sweet, warm, loving, soft little baby. My husband would hold him so gently in his arms and sit next to me just so I could be near, and even then, the lightning crackled. I wanted so desperately to want my baby. So what causes PPD? What causes this? We know that there are a few things that cause this. It could be a result of the intense drop in hormones, particularly estrogen and progesterone, that a mother's body goes through after birth. It could be from trauma during birth, like I experienced. 52 hours of labor is no joke. It could be from a lack of support system. It could be from the isolation that new mothers feel. Regardless, it could be from the isolation that new mothers feel. Whether they have a partner or not, those 3 a.m. feedings are incredibly lonely. Regardless of the cause, the effect is a debilitating experience at a time when everyone tells you it should be sunshine and roses and everything should be perfect and you should be overwhelmed with love. But that can also lead to debilitating guilt and shame when you don't feel those things. Perinatal mental health disorders like postpartum depression are the #1 complication of childbirth. #1. Cases of PPD have almost doubled since 2010. That means almost 20% of women are diagnosed with the illness. But let's put that into perspective. Estimated 50% of women experience some form of PPD. That's half of us. So many of us go undiagnosed. We suffer in silence. We stay quiet. We are told we are bad mothers and we are shamed for our feelings. We are dismissed until we burn out or snap or cry and cannot stop. It is so common that I guarantee you know someone who has postpartum depression. Think of the people in your life that have given birth right now. Maybe you're picturing a few people, maybe you're picturing many. Remember that research tells us that 50% of those people, half of them, have experienced some form of postpartum depression, and you probably never even knew. It could have been any one of them. It could have even been your own mother. So how do you navigate PPD while also managing a career, a newborn, keeping house, paying bills, and all of life's other responsibilities? It's surprisingly simple. You need support. Some women have support, a loving partner, a caring family, a steady therapist, but many women do not. We are told we are bad mothers if we struggle to bond with our babies, so we hide it. We stay silent. We suffer alone. But hear this. Postpartum depression does not mean you won't love your baby. It means that your brain needs help. Asking for help is a strength, not a weakness. So reach out. Talk to the people in your life that you trust. Seek professional help. PPD, postpartum depression, is a medical emergency, like a diabetic's blood sugar dropping out or someone having a seizure. It is that urgent and that dangerous. Now me, I have an incredible husband, and it's gonna make me cry again. Oof. But he took care of our baby when I could not. He pushed me to call my doctor when I was crying for the 3rd day in a row. I got medication and went to therapy, and I could have done none of that without his support or without the support of my parents, who came and stayed until midnight and came at 7 a.m. and cooked us food and cuddled our baby, without the support of my mother-in-law, who came in from Florida for 3 weeks just to help us, without my whole family. This was my support system. You need to find your support. Now, that doesn't mean my husband didn't go without his own challenges. He was exhausted. He was frustrated. He felt like a single parent because even though I was there, I was barely existing. I was a bottle of lightning with no purpose other than to crackle when baby came near. He had to do almost everything, all while he was still trying to support me and my needs. Keep going. There we go, thank you. My husband was on his own for so much of those first weeks, and he was a new parent who needed support too. Yet, every time I tried to help, he would send me back to bed and he would say, "You did the hard part for 9 months. Let me do the hard part now." Yeah, I know, like I said, he's freaking incredible, okay? So how does PPD affect children? When a primary caregiver has untreated postpartum depression, It can cause attachment issues because they aren't being responded to with warmth and love, but rather with detachment and shame. It can cause developmental delays, and children are more susceptible to depression and anxiety later in life. And toddlers and younger kids can have difficulty managing their emotions. This is an effect I think I'm seeing in my own son. His immediate switch from happy to enraged when his car doesn't work or his tower falls. Sometimes it makes me wonder if I got help fast enough for him, or if my detachment and shame scarred him for life. Now, this doesn't mean it isn't worth it to have kids. Postpartum depression is difficult, but the love that I feel when I play with my son or teach him to write his name, or listen to him go on about his favorite trains, it is so worth it. I would go through postpartum depression 1,000 more times if it meant I still got to be his mother. They say PPD lasts for 3 to 6 months. Mine lasted 3 years. For 3 years, I was paralyzed by motherhood. I struggled to do the most basic tasks like the dishes, the laundry, or cleaning up the ever-growing piles of baby toys. And I was constantly asking myself, why can't I just be a normal mom? But the truth is, my feelings were normal. I can't say this enough, but we are not alone. When I went back to work after 3 months of depression, therapy, medication, and raising a newborn, I had to learn to navigate through uncertainty, but this time with lightning in my chest. I still had to prep my classes and get ready for work and take my son to daycare, just like a normal person, while feeling completely abnormal. I was an adjunct at the time, which is like a part-time professor job, and I also had a job as a graphic designer for a print shop. I loved both of my jobs and the people at them. I worked hard and I smiled. I didn't let them see the lightning, but in retrospect, I wish I had. I wish I had been brave enough to stand up and say I had postpartum depression, that all of this smiling was killing me. But I persevered with a support system, and a therapist and psychiatrist that had my back. It took grit and determination. It took medication. It took a soft hand to give me grace when I couldn't meet my own perfectionist expectations. It took therapy for me to understand that sometimes just showing up is good enough. It took time. It took rest. So where can you go to find the support that you need? Your first call should always be to your OBGYN or your primary care doctor. They will get you on the path to healing. I did this with my OB, and it was the single best phone call I've ever made. She put me on the path to healing, and I will forever be grateful. There's Postpartum Support International. It is an organization that helps women along on their perinatal journeys before and after birth. They have a phone number you can call if you don't even know where to start. They also have an app that you can use that has support groups and resources. I know some people aren't fond of calling people, like my husband, who would prefer an app over a phone call any day. You can find a wealth of information at postpartumdepression.org. It is full of resources to help you learn what's going on in your brain, how to cope, and where to get help. If you ever feel like hurting yourself or your baby, call 911 immediately. This can be dangerous, and I know it can be terrifying, but they are there to help. And some of the things you truly need most are time and rest. For me, it took years, but eventually the crackles in my chest faded. Instead of pain, I am bursting at the seams with love for my little one. It But that doesn't mean the questions are gone. I still wonder if sometimes he would be better off with just his dad or another family. Surely someone would be a better mother than me. Stop questioning yourself, Andrea, I can hear in my head, in my sister's voice, chastising me for my negative thoughts. I fight those intrusions every day. And even after all of this, I know I'm crazy. I'm trying for another baby, and I'm hopeful, but I'm terrified. But I'm hopeful that even if postpartum depression hits me a second time, I will be okay. It will rear its ugly head, and I will beat it back with my support system, with my strength, and with my knowledge. I will not be alone. I will reach out. If you know a parent, ask them how they are really doing. Reach out to them, cook them food, bring them groceries, listen to them, believe them, because silence keeps us isolated, and connection is how we heal. So this is where we are today. This is my best bud, my son, and as my mother says, he is a bird in this world. I love him more than I ever thought possible. And here are the two most important men in my life, my partner and my son, my hockey guys. I wouldn't trade them for anything. And even after finding support and making it through the worst of the storm, I still have parenting struggles with that faint whisper of postpartum depression that will probably never go away. So I have to remind myself every day, I am strong. I am loved. I am a good parent. I am a freaking rock star. I am everything. I am everything my little one needs me to be. And so are you.